Okay, let's unpack this. You know how sometimes you stumble across something online that just makes you do a double take?
Hmm.
Like imagine seeing a film title, something like Sweet Young Girls, and then completely separately reading about a Lifetime Achievement Award for a solicitor.
Right. For nearly 4 decades of service, they seem like completely opposite ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. It sounds like two totally different worlds, doesn't it? But today, we're doing a deep dive that actually connects those seemingly disparate points.
And what's really intriguing here is the focus on one person, Julia Perrin. Her name pops up in some, well, truly unexpected places online.
Yeah.
And our goal today is to sort of understand how these different online footprints piece together the story of her professional life.
Absolutely. And we've got a real mix of sources to work with. We're talking movie databases, Blu-ray.com, IMDb, TMDb, Canorium, MUBI,
Right. And then there's a film news site, Filmoria,
even a specific Wikipedia page on adult films, a profile from an illustration agency in Paris called Garance.
and a local news article from the Somerset County Gazette. It's quite the collection.
It really is. It feels like we're putting together a fascinating puzzle, with pieces from very different boxes.
Exactly. So our mission is to navigate all this information and try to understand the journey Julia Perrin took professionally.
We're looking for the surprising shifts, the noteworthy achievements.
And ultimately, what this all tells us about, well, a career trajectory.
Okay, so let's start at what seems to be the beginning, at least in the public record, her time as an actress.
Yeah, multiple sources, IMDb, Wikipedia, Canorium, TMDb,
Hmm.
they all list Julia Perrin with the filmography.
And it looks like it's mainly concentrated between 1979 and maybe up to 1986.
That seems about right. And one of the
Okay.
first things you notice is the sheer number of different names she's credited under.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Whether Julia Perrin, Julia Perrier, Isabelle Forestier, and then a whole series of Marie names. Marie-Lou, Marie-Loup, Mary-Loup, Marilyn, Marilyn,
Right.
and then also Aude Moore, Bianca Moore. Bianca Moore. Wikipedia explicitly calls these aliases.
It really makes you wonder why so many different professional identities were used.
It does. And when you look at the film titles themselves, the ones listed across these databases, well, they give you a pretty clear picture.
Yeah, like Sweet Young Girls, which the source's note was originally Les Petites Nymphettes.
Right. And then Charlotte Mouille sa culotte, which sometimes gets translated as well, Charlotte wets her panties.
Okay.
And titles like La Pension des Fesneuse, Naked Butts Boarding School, and Les Clientes, sometimes listed as Girls, Girls, Girls too.
So the titles themselves are quite indicative.
They are. And the genre categorization is very consistent across sources like Wikipedia, Canorium, TMDb. It's firmly within the adult film genre.
And understanding that context is pretty crucial, I think, as we look at where her career went next.
Absolutely. It sets up the major shift we see later.
Now, the timeline for this acting career is also kind of interesting. Wikipedia seems to focus mostly on 79 to 82.
Yeah. But Canorium lists a film from 1986, Confidences d'une petite vicieuse très perverse.
So it might have stretched out a bit longer than just those initial few years, a defined period, though.
Definitely. And there's another layer here. Wikipedia mentions she was recognized as Miss Europe New 1981.
Representing Andorra, apparently.
Right. And that led to an appearance in the U.S. edition of Playboy in February '82.
Okay, so these are very public acknowledgments during that period.
Which contrasts quite sharply with her later professional persona.
Right. Okay, so that's the first act, you could say. Now, prepare for a pretty significant plot twist here.
All right.
Our article from the Somerset County Gazette shifts focus completely, taking us to the later part of her professional life.
And it's a huge shift. This article highlights a really significant achievement. Julia Perrin receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award.
From the Devon and Somerset Law Society, no less.
Exactly. After dedicating almost 40 years to the legal profession, that immediately tells you, wow, okay, major career transition.
A complete change of direction. The article details her role at a law firm, Porter Dodson. She's a partner there.
Yes, partner and head of the family law team in Taunton.
Specializing in divorce and financial settlements, often really sensitive, complex stuff.
It's hard to imagine a field more different from some of those film titles we mentioned earlier.
Totally different. And her milestones in this legal career are, well, they're quite impressive.
They really are. Admitted as a solicitor in December 1984.
Okay, so not long after that last film credit, potentially.
Right. Became a partner just 5 years later, in 1989. That's quick.
Very.
Right.
And she played a key role in the merger that formed the current firm, Porter Dotson LLP.
This really speaks to a high level of commitment and, frankly, success in the legal world.
It's quite striking, isn't it? That transition seems very focused, very deliberate.
Yeah, building a completely new professional identity. And it wasn't just about her own advancement.
No, the article emphasizes her wider contributions too, like championing equality in the partnership.
hmm Elected chairman twice. She's a trained mediator, a collaborative lawyer.
Skills focused on resolution, on understanding.
Exactly. And she co-founded the Somerset Branch of Resolution. That's an organization for family lawyers.
And she's been recognized in Legal 500.
Yeah, for her excellent advice and a sympathetic and understanding approach, that paints a picture of someone really respected in her field.
Deeply respected, influential. It really makes you think about the dedication involved in building that kind of reputation.
It does. What kind of skills, maybe, or personal qualities do you think could bridge those two? Well, seemingly disparate worlds.
That's a really interesting question. Maybe resilience, or like you said, understanding complex human situations. A strong work ethic seems likely too.
Possibly. It's fascinating to speculate. Now, just when we think we have a grasp on this remarkable two-act career,
Uh-oh, there's more.
well, potentially, our online sources throw up another intriguing possibility. There's a profile for a Julia Perrin on the website of an illustration agency.
Karen's, based in Paris.
That's the one. And this Julia Perrin is listed as an illustrator with a background, interestingly, in political science.
An illustrator,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it.
What kind of work does she do?
Well, the description of her style is quite evocative. Gentle touch, hints of reality, delicate brushstrokes, subtle colors.
Sounds quite artistic.
Yeah, and influenced by travels. Kabila, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Paris are mentioned. Suggests a creative, observant eye.
And what about her actual projects? Is there a portfolio?
Seems quite diverse. Work for Cuisine magazine, brands like Blue 4A, personal art series, Parisian scenes, umbrellas, even a movie poster for Le Fronte.
Le Fronte, that's a well-known French film.
It is, plus social media for Lancel, packaging design for Roberto Cavalli, Joe Malone, Latte Box, wine labels,
Wow.
and even portraits of fashion figures like Serge Lutens and Karl Lagerfeld. It's a substantial body of creative work.
Okay, so the big question. Is this the same Julia Perrin?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We
Wow.
try to connect the dots. Filmoria gives a birth date for the actress Julia Perrin, January 1st, 1961.
And does that match anything else?
Yes, it aligns perfectly with the birth date listed on TMDb for the actress.
So chronologically, it's plausible.
Plausible, yes, that the actress and the illustrator could be the same person. It could represent yet another significant chapter.
But there's a but, isn't there?
There is. It's important to stress that none of our sources explicitly confirms this connection. The link between the actress solicitor and the illustrator isn't stated anywhere we found.
Right, so we're left with this really intriguing open question.
Exactly. Is a respected solicitor with a Lifetime Achievement Award also the person from the early adult films and perhaps also this successful Parisian illustrator?
The birth year fits, but the illustration link is, well, unconfirmed based on what we have.
It really highlights how people's lives can unfold in ways you just wouldn't expect.
And how fragmented our online view of someone can be. Different parts of a life existing almost separately online.
We have to piece together the clues and just acknowledge where the connections are still speculative.
But certainly fascinating to consider. Absolutely.
So when we step back and look at the whole picture, what we see is a truly unexpected professional journey.
From the late 20th century adult film scene to a highly respected solicitor getting a Lifetime Award in the 21st century, it's quite the path.
Definitely took some surprising turns.
And I think the key takeaway for me is just the multifaceted nature of a single professional life.
Yeah.
These diverse sources give us glimpses into what look like distinct, successful careers, film, law, and this intriguing possibility of a third, an illustration.
It really challenges our assumptions, doesn't it? About career paths and what people can do.
Definitely.
So this deep dive leaves you with a really thought-provoking question, I think. What does Julia Perrin's journey, as we've pieced it together from these online fragments, tell us about, the potential for radical career change?
Right, and how public perception might shift over time.
Yeah, and just the many different lives one person might lead. And it makes you wonder.
What other surprising stories are out there? Exactly. What other unexpected career transitions might be hidden in plain sight, just scattered across the internet?
It definitely makes you think about the hidden depths and unexpected stories behind the people we encounter, or even just read out online.